I don't really have anything special to say rather than to introduce our speakers today. From the two amazing companies. First of all, Pikkarainen from Helsingin Energia, and then my dear colleague Mari from Futurice. We're going to talk about how they got together two buzzwords, the lean startup and service design in one sentence. Please.
Thanks, Risto. So, we're going to go through a project that we've been working on together and tell you about what we learned from applying lean startup ideas in a big company.
Okay, so my role in Helsingin Energia is related to business development and product management of new services. About Helsingin Energia, it's one of the largest energy companies in Finland, and the big power plants take kind of some of the landmarks of Helsinki townscape, so well known in Helsinki. Then we have three main products: electricity, district heating, and district cooling. So pretty straightforward products in that sense. The electricity customer number is around 400,000, including private and business customers. Then the district heating covers 90% of the heating demand in Helsinki. So it's a very important part of Helsinki during the cold winter days we have here. And then we are the third largest supplier of district cooling, which is a new emerging area to provide cooling from a central service or kind of a bigger service. But on the other hand, the energy sector is in a change, so that new ways of producing local energy, like solar panels, are emerging, and then also new ways to use electricity, like hybrid cars, electric cars are also popping up now. So there's growing, let's say, a complexity in a certain sense as well, how we produce energy and how it is used. And that means that we need some kind of a control and also management and intelligence in the network to manage all that. And the new service design project we work on is related to this kind of, I would say, more intelligent use of electricity in the company and provide that type of service.
All right, so we set out to... Sorry. I broke it. It's blinking.
Okay, sorry.
Now it's working, I think.
Battery.
Could you just use
There,
that?
okay.
I'll just put another battery in.
All right. Okay, so the service design project that we worked on was around creating the smart grid services for consumers. So how do consumers become an active player in managing their energy needs and energy supply? Kind of very complex. Needs a whole lot of technology around it, and very abstract too. So those were kind of the design challenges that we set out to solve. And the presentation, we thought we'd walk through just the process that we've gone through so far. We're in the middle of everything, so this is just the start and the beginning of the project that we'll talk about. But we, kind of looking back at what we've done since last summer, we've seen kind of 4 phases of what we've done. So initial concepting, business model and service refinement, user validation, and then kind of an agile service and UI development phase. We'll just walk through these and describe what we did and what we learned about lean startup. So initial concepting, this was more of a black box design phase. We didn't know Helsingin idea to begin with, so they gave us a brief and we worked out a few concepts related to home automation for them. And not a very lean startup way of working. But the good thing was that we got very concrete user interface designs of the ideas that we were going to be working on. Further down the road, and getting kind of your hands dirty in the project is a good way to learn about the partners you're going to be working with. So Helsingin Energia and Futurice, we got to know each other working on this first project together. The second thing we did was, once we got the UIs done, and the UIs were done more of in a blue sky mode. Don't think about the technical issues, don't think about the users that much, just think about what could be possible. So when we started the next phase of the project, the first thing we did was think about the whole thing from a business perspective. And we used a simplified version of the business model canvas to jot down all the assumptions that we had about the business, so about the customers, about the problem we're solving for the users, about the solution, about the implementation of the whole business system. And the way we ran the workshop was we got a box and we described the product that the customer would be getting from Helsingin Energia when they buy it, and it looks pretty simple and ugly and like rough, but it's a good way to make things very concrete. What are you going to be selling to the customer when you meet them at a conference? And just walking through the 4 Ps, so the product, price, place, promotion, and getting everything documented on a box was very helpful in getting started with this kind of business model canvas discussion. After we got the things in the middle filled out, then we expanded the discussion to who's going to buy it, who's going to be the first 1,000 customers, why are they going to be buying the product, what are they going to have in their hands 8 months from now, what can we get ready now, what's going to be the product offering in 3 years' time. So jotting everything down about the business, and then that was kind of the groundwork for then going out and testing and learning as much as we can about the things that we were most uncertain about.
Okay, then we had a very intensive 5-day session from 9 to 6 p.m. in the evening in a meeting room in one of our power plants. So I always wanted to say that we really had the force with us. So it was a very nice and a good way, a productive way to look at all the different things simultaneously. We really look at the value propositions, customer segments, key competencies, pricing, costs, partnerships, both technology and service partners we needed to kind of build certain type of service concepts. So it was a continuous iteration of going through and looking at simultaneously of all those things. And we shared the work every morning, who's going to do what that day, and then did work on that. And basically a good idea to go outside of the office that people really could concentrate on work. And I think that this 1 week session was really productive. And then we went out from this phase with about 10 different service concepts that we could go for to customer validation. So that was a kind of a really good way to work on these ideas in a very rapid mode. I think this phase, doing it this way, in any other way, would have taken months to get to the same end result.
So you can see here, this is one from the war room, and you have the business model canvases there in the backdrop, and I think every day we came in with the idea of a very new product, so there was a lot of iteration, kind of during that week and clarification of the different elements of the offering.
Maybe one kind of a learning was that also that when working on so many ideas, but the business calculations couldn't always follow the kind of the pace of kind of a creative thinking, but still we did try to do that at the same time all the time as well, looking at the structures and potential markets and so on, getting different type of data from our companies, databases, public sources, calling potential partners during this week as well. If they'd be interested in getting that type of feedback, so that do we have the competencies in place?
All right, so we left the war room. I hate the term war room, but we need to come up with a better name. But we left the war room with lots of new product concepts, and we had planned that we'd only have a few, and we'd have a focus group around the few concepts, more in a traditional UX validation way. But then we decided that no, we need to go for interviews. We need to have feedback from different individual people instead of groupthink, consensus feedback. So what we decided to do was take the initial ideas that we had now after the war room, so the 12 refined concepts, and make ads for them. So we have 12 brochures or ads for the concepts that we have. These are just 3. These are actually 3 of the ones that were dropped later on, but 3 ads, and then we met with 30 or so people to talk about how they live, what their homes are like, how they meet their homes, what kind of problems they have in their homes, and we showed them these concepts and got feedback on whether these are something that would solve the problems they're facing. And the people we met, first of all, we had a practice round, so everyone talked to their friends who were kind of in the potential customer segment that we were targeting to test out, what kind of things will come up in the interviews. And then we invited customers of Helsingin Energia to come talk to us. The first batch we actually kind of got from the CRM system, the target audience that we felt would be the most potential group of consumers that would be interested in these products. And the second group that we recruited was people that were actively using a service of Helsingin Energia that helps you track your energy usage, called Sähköpus. And we had 1-hour interviews with these consumers, 2 people interviewing, one from Helsingin Energia and one from Futurice, kind of semi-structured interview flow, talking about living and the problems encountered there, and then going through these concepts. And we discussed a lot whether we should be giving these people movie tickets or gift cards or whatever. And then we kind of turned it around and said, hey, they should be paying us. We're solving their problems. They didn't pay us in the end. So, but in lean startup thinking, that was kind of the mentality that we had, that we should be, finding people that are really interested in solving these problems, hearing them out, and they should be ready to kind of buy the products that we're trying to create on the spot. A few words about then the conclusions. We were thinking a lot about what can we say based on the people that have time to come talk with us for an hour. Based on the concept. So a few words about the demographics. So they're really lead users who were interested in technology and energy, and then we're thinking, if these guys are interested, is the rest of the world going to be interested? Since they're so involved and excited and into energy issues. And another one was, are these kind of representative of the population, because they tend to be skewed a bit towards older users who had time to come talk to us. So lots of thinking about the validity of the results from talking to customers. But in the end, we got very clear understanding of the 12 concepts, which are most interesting for the potential consumers, what kind of buying process these consumers go through when they're evaluating these kind of services. So how do they choose how much they're willing to pay, what is really valuable for them, what kind of journey they actually go through when they're thinking about energy issues, what are kind of trigger points in their customer journey that get them interested in services like this. Typically it's being surprised by a huge energy bill when you move or you renovate your house, and that gets you kind of interested in knowing more about what causes energy consumption to go up and how can you manage that. Yeah. So after this customer validation period, I think we did our kind of first pivot, which was to really focus on the one concept that was most promising, or looked the most promising. And that was, maybe, Hannu, do you want to say a few words about the concept? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's, let's say if you take the next slide, and maybe take that one, because, okay, we had a bunch of great ideas, but you need to come, if you plan to come out with a product, and you need to focus. And the other thing is that when you are applying lean startup thinking in a bigger company, which has processes and tools tuned for 500,000 customers, so they are not the optimum for your small startup. So basically you need to simultaneously, when designing the product, you need to look at the minimum viable process as well. How do you get the product out and scale it down to a level so that it's doable. So basically, if you have the existing processes, and of course you should adapt to those as much as you can, but at least you need to think of them as the goal, how you get and how you can implement your new service into these existing processes. So basically, we had a bunch of ideas, and then we needed to focus during the implementation phase as well to really get out with something with our work. So basically, that's the kind of what really happened during the implementation phase, that we needed to more look at the focus on how it works with the so it's a viable product, but also that we have the capability to deliver it.
A few words about the service and UI development. So Futurice is an agile software company, and we were really focusing on this stage now on getting something concrete out, working software, and followed a pretty straightforward agile Scrum practice in the software development. So we basically had a prioritized list of the product backlog items based on the feedback from the users, and have had till now 4 2-week sprints. And the team that's working on the service or the UI development consists of 3 developers, 1 designer, 1 UX consultant, and a Scrum Master. And we had the target of getting something ready in 2 months, something out. The working software is a screenshot there of the UI, but the whole product is not the UI only. It consists of a number of sensors in the home, kind of a central unit, the user interface, and then links to kind of the support processes at Helsingin Energia.
And also to a certain type of electricity product that is combined with a product. So there's a user interface, then the control system, so technology part, and then also a certain type of electricity product. And if you didn't know, you can buy electricity in different products.
So okay, I managed to.
There was the voice again.
Oh, okay, mute button, don't press it with your finger. The lean startup talks about minimum viable product, and that's kind of the minimum effort, maximum learning, something you can sell type of idea. Our product isn't in the phase yet that we can sell it, but I think what we have there is pretty close to a minimum viable product. So the one use case that really adds value to the user, if in the vision state we had kind of the idea that you would have the system that would control everything in your home, this only controls one thing, and it's the heating, the water boiler in your home. And from here, I think the next phase will be to include some other functionality, but at least we have like an end-to-end system now that almost works and almost can be sold.
So if I modify something here, it's we actually tried to come up with a user interface mock-up after the first 2 weeks from the design start. So to get something that people can look at and think how it works, and even if it didn't work as a complete product, so to start with something concrete, visible, that you can comment on and see the kind of how you need to change that immediately before you have actually implemented anything. So that's kind of an important way of doing it the right direction from the beginning. We presented the service concept we designed in a fair a couple of weeks ago now, and that was the continuation of customer validation again to show that visitors in the fair and get feedback from the potential customers, and we have that feedback now and can continue with the further design. So as a result, I was pretty satisfied with the end result, because I am the product owner of this whole thing. So we can come up with something that we could show and demonstrate in the fair.
So that's the story so far. I guess we can open up the floor now for questions.
Would you explain the concept in a bit more detail?
Do you mean the service concept?
Service that you have, yes.
Okay, it's a service concept that is designed for controlling the timing of heating your house. Okay, you have a house that you need to heat. Then you actually can do it in a way that you cannot heat the house during certain hours during the day or the night time, actually, more or less. And that makes sense in a way, because if you have that type of electricity product where the pricing goes according to each hour, so the electricity market works in a way that every hour has a certain price. And there are more expensive hours and there are cheaper hours. So if you can optimize your heating in the house to these lower price level hours, then that brings you benefit. And of course, because it's a kind of you might feel that if you're buying electricity from the market, you might have a risk of heating your house with expensive hours. So the user interface shows you the timing when the heating of your house has happened. So that's the kind of works automatically and gives you a kind of feedback that it works as it is planned, and you should be able to gain savings from your heating in that way. So that's the basic idea of the service.
Service, I guess, the heating of the house is automated based on the temperature outside, and then the kind of the temperature that you feel is comfortable in your home. So it kind of optimizes the heating.
And to continue on the same subject, where are you going to take this within a year? And you mentioned 3 years. So what's the future of this one?
That's the kind of, we presented this as a service concept, and our plan is to start providing this to our customers. Then there's a certain segment for these customers. It doesn't apply to all houses. You need to have a water boiler in your house so that you can get the maximum benefit of this service. So it's what a certain customer segment.
So is it going to be ever expanded to other customers to them to be able to monitor their usage of electricity, or kind of see when they are consuming the most of the energy and so on? Because for me personally, it would be quite interesting to know as a customer of Helsingin Energia. So.
First of all our electricity customers can follow the electricity consumption from a web service today. However, you can't optimize your usage. There's no automatic control of if you don't have any intelligence in your house. And this service already includes another view where you can see the history of your consumption and temperatures of your house and price of each hour and so on. So all that type of data is there.
So from a customer perspective, what's the revenue model? I mean, is this a service that the customer pays for, and how's that price related and potential savings?
The potential savings comes from that you manage the timing when you heat your house, and that's, as I said, there are the lower price level hours. So there's a financial benefit you can get on that.
Can you quantify it? Is it €1 per year, or
it depends on the size of your house.
Okay.
So how much you can save. It's basically for that you have electricity heating in your house, then you can get the maximum benefit, and that's basically if you are the right type of customer in that sense for this product, then you can get the benefit.
So will the customer then pay to use the service?
Yes, I mean this is we plan to have this as a service that customer pays for us.
What do you expect to be the return on investment?
Return on investment depends again on the price on the size of your house. If you have a really huge house, it can be really short. If your electricity consumption is low, then the payback time can be tenfold. So it completely depends on how much you consume electricity, how much you can really save.
Yeah, this was one of the questions that we went through quite a lot during the canvas planning and the concepting. So always trying to find the customers that will benefit, and then kind of how do you sell a product that's meant to save you money? What's the balance? How much do you need to really save more than you spend on the service?
What's the
You're right. It's a twofold thing. First of all, there's this customer benefit we can offer. And then there is also because as a company, we produce electricity, but we sell that electricity to the market. And all the electricity we then sell to our customers, we buy from the market. And if we can work on with the timings of consumption, then that kind of helps us to work on this market, predict the usage of electricity, because electricity is something that you can't store anywhere. Sorry, so that you can't store electricity anymore, so you need to be able to operate in the market, and then in that sense, it has a kind of a benefit for the company as well. But here it's basically, this is now about the customer benefit, how the customer can benefit from this timing of the heating, controlling the timing of heating of the house.
About the customer validation with mock ads, did you present all the 12 initial concepts to all customers, or only one concept, or how did you manage the 1 hour interviews?
The schedule was tight. We went through all of them with all of the customers, but then we kind of focused on based on what they had told us before about their needs, we focused on the ones that were most relevant to them. One thing about the mock ads, it's good to know a little bit about how advertising works when you make the mock ads, because they will kind of skew your answers. If you have a cute bunny on your ad, people are going to remember that, and that's the service that they say they want to have. So these kind of little things we learned from doing the ads.
How did you decide what features to be included in the minimum viable product?
Yeah.
Okay, it was we might have had more product options, but it was then kind of focusing on getting something out. It was more or less the let's say the framework where to work on, that we get something out in this time frame. And I refer to this minimum viable process as well, that you can have something manageable. And then the case, because now we're implementing the startup lean startup thinking into a big company. So it's more getting focus on something than deciding about which product to go. There would have been other service options that are equally relevant. And I think the war room was quite good in a way of getting a portfolio of ideas of the different types of services one could then introduce and have a roadmap for those for later introduction.
About this methodology, there's clearly considerable amount of investment of time companies to this. So what helped you to become convinced that this is the way forward, and if that was hard to sell this whole idea within the organization?
You mean the lean startup thinking? I think that's something that people realize is the way to develop new products and services today. And of course then the challenge is that you have existing ways of working, existing tools, existing processes, and how to combine anything that you should get out rapidly to an existing process which is tuned for almost 500,000 customers, for instance. So of course there are things to be solved.
Could you give an example of how you tuned these processes or what they were for your product?
Could you elaborate a bit more? Because
you said that existing processes are tuned for 500,000 users, but you needed to have some kind of an adjustment of those processes for your case. So could you give examples of what was the process that you thought about for to use in this?
It starts from the Nike model. Okay, so that in a way that it can be the kind of a simple process would be that you collect all the customer requests into an email folder. So that's your starting point, basically. And if you have 1 or 10 customers in the beginning, you can manage that. But when going forward, you need to develop and find another way of handling that. So that's an example that you collect all the customer requests into one place, for instance, and that's the minimum process, and that's an example.
You have an estimate of how much of the overall sort of R&D effort now has been sort of like a lead product, and how much has gone into integrating into each other the rest of Helsingin Energia?
Depends on which scale you look at that, on the kind of thing. I think it's in the starting phase, the work force in a way is maybe 50-50 percentage-wise. So about the same amount of people from our side were involved as from Futurice, just roughly from different parts of the organization.
Were you, or Helsingin Energia, were you aware of Lean Startup before this project, or was it something that Futurice brought to you?
I personally hadn't practiced myself. Of course, I was aware of the way in principle, but I hadn't practiced that myself before.
Were other people from Helsingin Energia involved in the project, or was it you and Futurice?
No, other people. I mean, as I said, something like that. About a handful of people from both sides.
So if I understood correctly, you were the first time a product owner in an agile development process. So what do you think were the biggest challenges in functioning in the role of a product owner in this kind of a process?
Being a juggler. So quite many things in the air at the same time. And I think the agile development process as such wasn't the biggest challenge. It's the kind of combining it with the existing environment and finding the kind of key resources from the existing environment where it's going to work, be implemented.
You mentioned on your second slide solar also. Do you have any plans to include customer-owned production in services like this?
It's a bit different thing, but we buy electricity from such systems. If we have a customer who has a solar system, and if there is a case that there is excess electricity coming from the solar panels the customer has, we buy the electricity to a certain amount per month. So we have that type of things under development as well.
We also check with the service the source of energy, like what kind of energy, but is it renewable, is it from coal?
That's something we kind of check, and we have also certified renewable energy.
Okay, but as a user, can you
Here.
Can you in the service can you kind of
No.
choose what kind of energy?
Not with this service directly, but basically if you are heating your house during the lower price hours, during those hours the energy is produced with the kind of the most eco-friendly ways, because they are not the peak hours. When there's a peak demand, then the kind of the most expensive ways of producing energy come into picture. So basically, with this type of service, you can kind of use electricity and use energy which is produced with the kind of the ecological ways. So indirectly, you can have an influence on the consumption and production of energy.
How much has the original idea changed from the advertisement to this almost finished product?
I mean, this is one. This is among those, certainly. So it's more the user interface is a big part of it. So it's more about the idea of the service is quite clear, that how do you present that to the customers in an understandable and easy way. So that was a big part of this development project.
Yeah. Did you do any competitor analysis? Like,
Yes, we did.
And does it have competitors, or how did it influence your process?
Yes, there is competition. We took a bit different approach on how we provide this service. So that's basically how we plan to provide this type of service. So that's the basic idea of how we want to present, and that's it.
So do you see this kind of thinking and doing, continuing within Helsingin Energia, or was it just this project? I'm mostly perhaps interested in this product. Are you still continuing testing, or is it now just evolving, kind of like products, services usually evolve into marketing and then launch, or what's happening now and in the future?
So this is, I can say that this is not the kind of the final end product. In a way, this is kind of the first one, and certainly we have ideas on how to bring this forward. There are different ways of how we could go forward. Now we're thinking of how to do that.
Do you have it deployed somewhere and is someone using it daily and seeing feedback already, or not yet?
Not yet.
Have you validated this concept with customers now when it's launched in this fair?
Yeah, in the fair, for instance, definitely. But now, I think when we have it now live to show, then there's interest. We can show that, and as well internally in the house and externally. This is what we are working on. So that kind of sets the starting point for a discussion and makes it, clarifies it to other people as well, so they can kind of attach to the idea and thinking, and then bring own ideas and feedback. to us.
How do you design the metrics, or how do you measure the success of this MVP now?
Okay, we measure in the way that it needs to be, of course, needs to be a profitable business as such to us, and so that there is a customer benefit. So measuring is really kind of a business calculation on our customers and what's the kind of the revenue and costs and based on that. So the other thing is that, which is not so easily measurable, is that with this type of service one could actually time the other electricity consumption in the house. What you have, if you can see that when your heating is on, when there are the cheaper hours, if you have something planned that uses electricity, you could plan to do that during those hours. So indirectly you have a view to the pricing of the electricity you are buying, and then you could do that. And if that brings more loyal customers, then that's a great benefit. But then difficult to measure quite in an easy way.
How did you construct the team in the war? What roles were there?
The product owner, then development guys from our side, then Futurice guys. Then we did ask someone to visit for a day or whatever to the project when we needed some input. So basically, nothing really kind of a complex planning in that sense, that who should be there, and basically those who have something to give for the process.
There was a question before about your competitors, and you say the difference with them is the way you provide this service to the customer, then to the end user. But that, at least from my opinion, doesn't mean that the customer is going to choose your rather than the other one. So what do you think is the competitive advantage your service have, and is this sustainable, or it has to be iteratively developed to match always the customer will?
I think the last sentence, what you said, is the case how it should be and is going to be, so that there is a need to have iterations and develop it according to the customer feedback. So that's the way to go forward, to get to develop some benefits.
Okay, I think we can close on time. So let's give a big applause to Mari.
Thank you.